Baba Vanga and Nostradamus. Both predicted this one country. They lived worlds apart and blind to sight, the other blind to time, but somehow Baba Vanga and Nostradamus both foresaw the same nation rising in the storm of history. A nation spoken of in riddles, marked by omens, echoed in dreams centuries apart. This isn't a tale of fiction, it's a trail of truth hidden in prophecy. One country, woven into the warnings of both prophets, now stands at the crossroads of global destiny. This is no accident, no fantasy. And in today's chaotic world, where headlines blur with history, their visions may reveal more than we ever expected. Stay with the journey of wisdom, because what you're about to uncover might just shift the way you see the world right now. Number 1. Baba Vanga's Prophecies. Baba Vanga, the blind Bulgarian mystic whose eerie predictions have captured imaginations for decades, continues to spark curiosity and wonder long after her passing. From foretelling events like the 9/11 attacks, the tragic Kursk submarine disaster, and even Brexit, her visions often came cloaked in cryptic language, open to interpretation, yet resonating deeply with unfolding world events. Among her many prophecies, one stands out for its mysterious tone and haunting relevance to our timeshare references, to a land she never explicitly named but described as the bearer of both light and ashes. This place, she claimed, was not just a dot on the map, but a foreseer country imbued with great spiritual depth and immense technological prowess. Her followers believe she was referring to a nation that would rise into prominence at a moment of global crisis, a kind of turning point marked by natural disasters, social division, and economic instability. For some, her words were mere metaphor, yet others listened with more open hearts, believing her to be signaling something vital about our shared future. In one of her trance-like sessions in 1979, she uttered a poetic but puzzling phrase. "From the east a red sun will rise, but the light will fall to the west. The land of shifting stones will hold the seed." These words have been interpreted in many ways, but one idea that resonates today is the concept of transformation, energy, culture, and influence shift across the globe. The land of shifting stones could symbolize a country constantly evolving, diverse in its people and foundations, yet resilient, perhaps a metaphor for a nation like the United States or even Japan, known for technological leadership and cultural influence. When she speaks of this land holding the seed, it may be a reminder that the future, both its survival and potential collapse, rests in the hands of nations that are now at the center of global development. Number 2. Nostradamus's Prophecy. For centuries, the words of Nostradamus have stirred the curiosity of people searching for deeper meaning behind world events. He didn't just write prophecies, crafted riddles, cloaked in poetic quatrains that make you stop and think. One such verse from Century VIII, Quatrain 15, whispers, "The great empire shall be moved by the winds. A child of the dragon shall rise and fall, but one in the land of storms and steel shall hold the key to the world's fate." Now, that line alone opens up a sea of questions. Who is the child of the dragon? Could this be a symbol of a powerful nation like China, often associated with the dragon in Eastern traditions? And what about the land of storms and steel? When you hear that phrase, what country comes to your mind? A place shaped by conflict, resilience, and perhaps even industry. Strikingly, Baba Vanga, the blind mystic from Bulgaria, whose predictions have gained global attention, also hinted at a powerful nation that would play a major role in shaping the future of the world. Though she spoke in different terms, could she and Nostradamus have been pointing to the same country seen through different lenses, yet pointing to the same center of global change? This convergence of foresight, two seers from different times and backgrounds, echoing a similar vision is both eerie and fascinating. Baba Vanga didn't write in quatrains like Nostradamus, but her visions were often described in symbolic, mysterious language. When she spoke of a country that would rise in influence and bring the world to a turning point, many wondered what nation could she mean, and how could two individuals, living centuries apart, both predict this massive shift. When we consider Nostradamus's line, "shall hold the key to the world's fate," we're left to ponder who this nation might be that isn't just powerful economically or militarily, but one that carries a destiny tied to the collective fate of humanity. Number 3. Geographic hints and historical bias. Let's take a journey into the world of mysterious predictions and ancient seers Baba Vanga and Nostradamus, names that have captured the curiosity of people for generations. Both claim to have seen glimpses of the future, and while their visions were often cloaked in cryptic language, when we look closer, patterns begin to emerge. Have you ever wondered if these two mystics, separated by time and geography, might have been speaking about the same place? Think about this. Baba Vanga, a blind mystic from Eastern Europe, often shared visions that focused not just on her own region, but on distant lands she had never visited, lands she claimed would shape the destiny of the world. Nostradamus, on the other hand, wrote his famous quatrains in 16th century France, often focusing on Europe, especially France and Rome. But even he hinted at great changes coming from the East places, facing both destruction and incredible influence. Now, what happens when we compare their visions? Both spoke of a country that is constantly balancing between extremes, a land known for breathtaking technological advancements and yet haunted by powerful natural disasters, a nation where deep-rooted spirituality exists side by side with futuristic innovation, a society that has often been seen as a symbol of resilience and rebirth, yet also as a warning of what happens when science and politics move faster than wisdom. When you think about it, what country comes to your mind? Isn't it fascinating how both mystics described a place touched by tragedy, earthquakes, tsunamis, even atomic devastation, and yet also praised for giving the world extraordinary ideas, from robotics to cultural richness? Yes, the country they may have both been pointing to, though never naming it directly, is Japan, a land that carries the weight of its past while racing into the future, a place where temples sit beside towering skyscrapers and ancient customs live in harmony with cutting-edge technology. But why Japan? Why would two prophets, centuries apart, with no connection to the country, focus their visions there? Could it be because Japan represents the crossroads of humanity's greatest hopes and gravest mistakes? Could its story be a mirror for all of USA's symbol of balance, of the danger in losing that balance, and of the potential to find it again? So what do you think? Was Japan just a symbol in their visions, or is there something more to it? Could understanding their cryptic messages help us understand the challenges our modern world faces today? What do you think? Were Baba Vanga and Nostradamus really pointing to Japan? Leave a comment below with just one word: Japan if you believe so, or symbol if you think it's just a metaphor. Let's see what you feel deep down. Number 4. Why Japan? When we explore the cryptic visions of Baba Vanga and Nostradamus, both renowned for their eerie predictions, we find a curious alignment pointing to one remarkable country, Japan. While some may raise an eyebrow in surprise, a closer look reveals that Japan's unique place in global events and spiritual symbolism may well be what the mystics foresaw. The connection isn't just poetic, it's profound. Japan has long stood as a nation of contradictions, ancient yet futuristic, peaceful yet scarred by war, harmonious yet prone to natural upheaval. Baba Vanga, the blind Bulgarian mystic known for her startlingly accurate prophecies, spoke of great water tragedies and nuclear darkness, two haunting phrases that seem eerily fitting for Japan's history. The 2011 tsunami and the subsequent Fukushima nuclear disaster left deep wounds, echoing Vanga's visions with chilling accuracy. Before that, the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki had already embedded the reality of nuclear darkness deep in the country's collective memory. This is a land where spiritual depth runs through the streets, from serene Shinto shrines nestled in city corners to Zen monks walking past machines that dispense everything from ramen to companionship. It's a place where ancient traditions coexist with futuristic technology, and where the balance between nature and progress is constantly being negotiated. When Nostradamus, writing in the 16th century, referenced cryptic phrases like the child of the dragon and the land of storms and steel, many rushed to associate these with China, but Japan fits this imagery in compelling ways. Dragons are central figures in Japanese mythology as well, symbolizing both destruction and wisdom. The phrase, land of storms and steel, could represent Japan's past as a fierce imperial power nation that once brought war to the world with the force of a typhoon, only to rise again through sheer industrial and technological might. Think of the bullet trains, the robotic advancements, the sleek steel of modern city soul standing tall in a country regularly tested by typhoons, earthquakes, and tsunamis. The storm is not only external, it is internal, the constant storm of adapting, evolving, and surviving in a world that never stops changing. And yet, Japan does not merely survive it, reinvents. Then there's Baba Vanga's vision of a black sun rising over the land of paper and wind. While this may sound like abstract poetry, it resonates deeply with the essence of Japan. The black sun may be interpreted as the shadow left by nuclear devastation, or even the symbolic darkness that looms in the technological age. Land of Paper and Wind beautifully reflects Japan's rich literary tradition and its elemental relationship with nature poems written in ink on rice paper, winds brushing through cherry blossoms, temples swaying with age-old wisdom. Vanga's image of the crane crying as "the mountain moves" evokes Mount Fuji, the eternal witness to Japan's struggles and triumphs. The crane, a sacred creature in Japanese lore, represents peace, longevity, and hope. Her statement that "the people will forget, then remember" is a powerful commentary on how societies, over time, move forward by burying pain only to one day return to it in search of meaning. Indeed, Japan has rebuilt time and again, but never without remembrance. Hiroshima's Peace Park, the poetry of Basho, the quiet reflection in a tea ceremonial, are ways in which forgetting and remembering coexist. In modern life, Japan serves as a mirror for all of us. It shows us what it means to carry sorrow without letting it define us, to embrace innovation without discarding the sacred, to live in a world of machines without forgetting the warmth of human hands. Number 5. The future according to prophecy. Imagine this: two of the most mysterious figures in the world of prophecy, Baba Vanga and Nostradamus both, seem to whisper of a future shaped by choices made far to the east. Their cryptic messages, often debated and reinterpreted across generations, speak of a moment beyond midnight, a symbolic 13th hour, where humanity stands at a crossroads, and the direction we take may depend on a rising force from Asia. Baba Vanga, the blind mystic of Bulgaria, known for her eerie predictions, once said, "They will look to the old empire for new ways. In silence, they create what others destroy." This sentence is haunting, isn't it? It seems to suggest that while much of the world engages in destruction, one ancient power quietly builds, innovates, and reclaims a new path. Nostradamus adds another layer with his poetic line, When the eye of the moon rests on the twin hills, the sleeping sword will awaken. It's a striking image, and when we unpack it, it could very well allude to Japan, a nation once defined by its military force, now long known for peace and innovation. Could the sleeping sword be Japan's dormant military, now stirring amid growing global uncertainty? Now think about that. What does it mean when two prophets, centuries and countries apart, point in a similar direction? Could they have been warning us or guiding us to look where few have dared to gaze? Japan, since the end of World War II, has embraced a pacifist constitution, renouncing war and maintaining only a self-defense force. And yet, in recent years, tensions in the Indo-Pacific, increasing military activities from neighboring powers, and global instability have led Japan to reconsider its stance. It's not just about weapons or power, it's about a shift in purpose, a quiet determination to protect, to lead, and perhaps to inspire. Baba Vanga's words remind us that transformation often happens in silence, in patience, and in places where others aren't looking. And that brings us to an essential question. Are we paying attention to the silent shifts in our world? Or are we too distracted by the noise to notice where true change is happening? As Buddhist wisdom teaches us, what we think, we become. What we feel, we attract. What we imagine, we create. If we're to make sense of these prophecies, we must look not just at geopolitics, but also within ourselves. What energy are we feeding? Are we contributing to the world's chaos or to its healing? Japan's rise, if it is indeed what the prophets foresaw, may not be about war at all. It could be about resilience, about reclaiming honor, peace, and balance in a time when the world sorely lacks it. As the Buddha once said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future, concentrate the mind on the present moment." So let's ask ourselves, what does the present moment demand of us? What values should we be protecting as the world reshapes itself? Now, dear listener, I turn to you. Do you believe in prophecy, or do you believe that we create our future with the choices we make today? Could the words of Baba Vanga and Nostradamus be less about destiny and more about direction, pointing not toward fear, but toward mindfulness and awareness? If Japan's silent sword awakens, what kind of warrior will rise a force for domination or a guardian of peace? And most importantly, what role will you play in the great unfolding of our world story? Let's walk this path of wisdom together. Thank you for spending time with us today as we explored the mysterious predictions of Baba Vanga and Nostradamus. It means a lot to have you here on this journey. If you have thoughts, questions, or your own ideas about which country they foresaw, feel free to share them in the comments. If you're new to our channel, just comment, "I am a seeker." And if you've been with us for a while, type, "I walk the path." Your voice helps keep this community alive and inspired. All right, let's continue this journey together, shall we? The journey of awareness. From prophecy to awakening. What if the future isn't something that just happens to us, but something we carry within us? For centuries, prophets like Baba Vanga and Nostradamus spoke in riddles, hinting at nations rising, storms approaching, and the fate of the world resting in unexpected hands. But maybe, just maybe, they weren't pointing only to a country. Maybe they were pointing to us, to our choices, to our awareness, to the silent shift that begins not on a map, but in the heart of every human being willing to awaken. Number 1. The nature of prophecy. Prophecies, in their deepest essence, are not forecasts meant to tell us exactly what will happen. They are teachings clothed in symbols, metaphors, and poetic imagery, inviting us to wake up to what is already unfolding within and around us. When we look at figures like Nostradamus or Baba Vanga, It's tempting to see them as seers predicting specific political catastrophes or global events, but to do so is to miss the true purpose of their visions. When Nostradamus wrote of the great empire falling, he wasn't necessarily referring to a literal kingdom toppling, but perhaps to a spiritual or moral empire within ourselves, our pride, our illusions, our systems built on fear or greed. Similarly, when Baba Vanga spoke of a world under the shadow of steel birds, many saw it as a reference to airplanes and war, but on a deeper level, it can also reflect the rising presence of technology overshadowing human connection and nature. These images are not roadmaps pointing us to future coordinates. They are mirrors showing us our present trajectory, our patterns, and our collective subconscious. As Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This is the heart of prophecy, not fate etched in stone, but an opportunity to become more conscious, more awake, more aware of the energies we live by and the consequences they invite. In Buddhism, the Buddha often spoke in metaphors to awaken the listener, not to tell them what to think, but to help them see more clearly. One such quote from the Dhammapada reminds us, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become." When we understand this, prophecy transforms from something distant and mystical into something personal and transformative. In modern life, this matters deeply. We live in an age where information is abundant, but wisdom is rare. We seek answers, predictions, guarantees hoping someone will tell us what's next. But prophecy teaches us to turn inward, to ask, what pattern am I part of? What storm am I unconsciously helping to build? If the symbols of prophecy warn of collapse, then they are also urging us to look at what within us is unsustainable: relationships, our consumption, our disconnection from the present moment. Awakening isn't an escape from these patterns, but a return to them with mindfulness and compassion. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "The way out is in." When we stop chasing signs and instead begin interpreting them as invitations to inner clarity, we begin to see that the greatest prophecy is not one that tells us the future, but one that helps us transform our present. Let this be our guide, to use the language of prophecy not as a prediction of doom, but as a spiritual tool, gentle, poetic, and wise, pointing us back to awareness, where all real change begins. Number 2. Awareness as the hidden thread. When you look closely at all the strange, sometimes troubling things happening around us, conflicts, disasters, divisions, it might feel overwhelming or confusing. But there's something deeper connecting it all, something that isn't always visible on the surface. That hidden thread is awareness. And not just any kind of awareness, but a deep, active, and personal engagement with the truth of what's going on both outside and inside. You see, awareness isn't just standing still and watching things happen. It's about opening your heart and mind to what's really going on, beyond the noise, beyond the fear, and especially beyond the urge to place blame on the outside world. It's about stepping out of autopilot and asking yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? What's moving inside me as I witness what's going on out there? This kind of questioning brings us into direct relationship with our own inner world, and that's where real change begins. When you develop this inner sensitivity, something powerful happens. You begin to see that the chaos on the outside often mirrors something on the inside. Maybe the conflict between nations echoes the tension between your thoughts and emotions. Maybe the environmental destruction is a loud reflection of how we've neglected our own inner balance and peace. That doesn't mean you're personally responsible for all the world's problems, but it invites a deeper kind of reflection. What is unresolved within me? This isn't about guilt or shame. This is about compassion and courage. It's about daring to look inside, even when it's uncomfortable, because that's the only place where true healing can begin. When we're not aware, we move through life reacting, chasing what feels good, avoiding what feels bad, staying disconnected. But when awareness is present, you begin to respond with wisdom, not just habit. The real turning point in this journey comes when you shift the question from "What's going to happen to the world?" to "What is happening within me?" That shift changes everything. It moves you from fear to presence, from helplessness to empowerment, because while you may not be able to stop a war or reverse a storm on your own, you can stop the war within yourself. You can heal your inner storms, and that healing, that inner peace, begins to ripple outward. As Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "Peace in oneself, peace in the world." So, what happens when enough people begin that inner work? What might the world look like if more of us tuned into our own awareness instead of just pointing fingers or turning away? So I ask you, what are you becoming aware of in your life right now? Are there patterns, emotions, or wounds that need your attention? How do the events of the world stir something inside you, not to depress you, but to awaken you? This isn't about escaping reality. It's about entering it more fully, with eyes open, heart open, and mind ready to learn. And here's the lesson that you carry forward from this part of the journey. Awareness is not a luxury or a spiritual trend. It is the foundation of transformation. It is how we reconnect to our true self, how we begin to bring healing to a world that reflects our inner state. By being aware, you become a part of the solution, not through force, but through presence. So stay with the question, stay with your heart, and let awareness guide you from prophecy to awakening, from fear to peace, from chaos to clarity. Number 3. Personal awakening. The inner prophecy. Let me share something deeply personal with you, something that touches every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. It's what I like to call the inner prophecy. No, this isn't about fortune-telling or predicting the next big thing in the world. It's about you. It's about the quiet, yet powerful potential that lives inside your heart, quietly waiting to be remembered. Have you ever had a moment where something just clicked, a dream that stayed with you, a strange coincidence that made you pause, or a subtle voice inside nudging you to choose a different path? These are not accidents. These are the whispers of your inner prophecy. They're like gentle ripples on the surface of your mind, reminding you that you are meant for more than just routine or survival. You are meant to wake up. Personal awakening is not a lightning strike. It's a soft unfolding. It begins the moment you decide to listen, really listen to those whispers. And what do they say? They invite you to question what you've been told, to look at your habits, not as facts but as choices, to ask yourself, what do I really believe? Who am I beyond the roles I play every day? The Buddha once said, "No one saves us but ourselves. No one can and no one may. We ourselves must walk the path." That's the essence of this awakening. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It invites you gently, patiently to walk the path toward your truest self. Think about it. How often do we go through life on autopilot? How often do we follow inherited beliefs simply because we never pause to examine them? What if awakening isn't about becoming someone new, but remembering who you already are underneath the noise? This is where true transformation begins, not outside, but within. And it's in small, conscious decisions. The choice to breathe before reacting, the courage to speak your truth, the willingness to feel your pain instead of avoiding it. As Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully put it, the seed of suffering in you may be strong, but don't wait until you have no more suffering before allowing yourself to be happy. Awakening is realizing you can still choose joy, still live with mindfulness, even as life remains imperfect. So let me ask you, when was the last time you truly listened to yourself? Not the noisy thoughts full of fear or doubt, but the quiet voice underneath it all. Can you feel it? That gentle inner guidance urging you towards something more meaningful, more aligned with who you are meant to be. That is your inner prophecy. It may not be loud, but it is always there. And the moment you begin to trust it, your journey of awareness truly begins. Not because someone else told you to, but because your own spirit finally whispered, "It's time." And from this point, awareness becomes a practice, not a goal, not a finish line, but a way of being. You will forget, and you will remember again. But every time you choose awareness over reaction, compassion over judgment, presence over distraction, you return to yourself. You awaken again and again. So, I invite you now, gently and without pressure, what is your inner prophecy saying to you today? If you've made it this far, you're already awakening to deeper truths that go beyond prophecy. Comment below with "Awakened Path" to affirm your commitment to inner clarity and mindful living. Don't go anywhere, there's still powerful insight ahead to help you reconnect with your true self. Stay with us until the end to fully embrace this journey of awareness. Number 4. Collective consciousness and the turning point. As more and more individuals begin to wake up not just spiritually, but in how they see themselves, others, and the world, something powerful begins to shift in the collective consciousness of humanity. This isn't just a poetic idea. It's a real, energetic ripple that moves through families, communities, nations, and the entire planet. Prophecies throughout time have spoken of this, of a moment when humanity would find itself at a critical threshold, a time when the old ways would no longer serve us, and a deeper wisdom would begin to rise from within. This turning point is not something to look for in the distant future. It is here now, unfolding in real time with each decision we make, each truth we confront, and each act of kindness or awareness we choose. The signs are all around us. More people are meditating, exploring ancient teachings, questioning the systems that govern their lives, and rethinking what truly matters. There's a quiet revolution happening in the hearts of people everywhere, and while it might not always make headlines, it is profoundly reshaping the human experience. In today's modern world, we often feel overwhelmed by technology, by politics, by the pace of daily life. And yet, within that chaos, many are beginning to pause and reflect. The rise in mindfulness practices, the growing interest in sustainable living, and the increasing number of people choosing compassion over conflict all point to a collective awakening. We are realizing that we are not separate from the earth or from one another. Every action we take, how we treat our neighbors, how we speak to our children, what we consume, and even the thoughts we entertain feeds into a larger field of energy that connects us all. This is the essence of collective consciousness. It is not just an abstract idea, but a living truth. When enough people awaken to compassion, balance, and responsibility, the world itself begins to change. And while that change may seem slow or even invisible at times, it is happening in countless quiet ways. The journey toward awakening doesn't require us to be perfect. It simply asks us to be honest, to be willing to look within, and to recognize that our inner world shapes the outer one. That is the turning point when we stop blaming the world and begin transforming ourselves. From this place of inner clarity, we make better choices not just for ourselves, but for the generations to come. In a time when it's easy to feel powerless or divided, remember that your awareness matters, your peace matters. When you choose kindness instead of judgment, or when you decide to slow down and breathe rather than react in anger, you are helping to tip the scale. You may not see the full effect of your actions, but they echo far beyond the moment. This is how prophecy becomes reality, not through grand events, but through the everyday courage of awakened living. So wherever you are in your life, whether you're feeling lost or deeply connected, know that your journey is part of something bigger. The turning point is not just about global change, it's about the small, meaningful shifts happening within each of us. Stay open, stay kind, and trust that your awareness is not only transforming your life, but helping to heal the world. Number 5. From Fate to Freedom, Writing the Future. Let me speak directly to your heart for a moment, because this part of the journey is deeply personal. The idea that our lives are already written, that some kind of fate is pulling the strings, can feel heavy, even discouraging. Maybe you've felt that before, that certain things were just meant to be, and that you had no choice but to accept them. But here's the truth. The path from prophecy to awakening leads to a powerful shift in perspective. The future isn't a locked door, it's a blank page. Yes, fate might hand us the paper and pen, maybe even sketch out a few lines in pencil, but awareness, that deep, quiet wisdom that wakes up inside you, that is what gives you the power to write your own story. Fate may set the stage, but awareness writes the script. This isn't just a poetic thought, it's a truth that can change your entire way of living. Think of it this way. When we sleepwalk through life, we follow the patterns given to us: family expectations, cultural beliefs, fears, doubts, habits. It can feel like destiny. But once you become aware, you stop, breathe, and turn inward, you begin to realize that you are not bound by the past or by predictions of the future. You begin to see that what felt inevitable is, in fact, changeable. Awareness is like light in a dark room. It doesn't force change, but it reveals what's truly there. And in that clarity, choice becomes possible. So ask yourself, what part of your life have you believed was just the way it is? And what might happen if you paused and looked at it through the eyes of awareness? When one person wakes up, a ripple begins. But when many awaken to their inner world, to their thoughts, patterns, and potential, the entire outer world starts to shift. This is not just an individual journey, it's collective. The ancient prophecies that once sounded like warnings start to take on new meaning. They're no longer predictions to fear, but messages meant to steer us back home, back to what matters, back to our hearts. They whisper truths we've forgotten, that peace begins inside, that wisdom grows in silence, and that love is the greatest force for transformation. Let that land in you. What if prophecy was never about something coming to pass, but about waking us up before it does? What if the future isn't fixed, but fluid, waiting on the choices we make in the present moment? What does that say about the power you hold right now? So here's the message for this part of the journey. Your future is not a prison built by fate, it is a canvas, and you are holding the brush. Live with awareness. Question what you've accepted. Notice the patterns you repeat and gently ask yourself if they still serve you. Turn the fear of the unknown into curiosity. And when things feel hard or unchangeable, remind yourself. Awareness gives birth to freedom. The moment you become fully present, fully alive to this moment, the script begins to change. Lesson for the journey. Awareness transforms fate into freedom. You are not just a character in your story, you are also the author. Write wisely, write with compassion, and write with the courage to choose differently. So perhaps the question isn't just which country the prophets saw, but why they saw it. Maybe Japan is more than a place on the map. Maybe it's a mirror reflecting both the shadow and the light of our human journey. A symbol of resilience, of transformation, of balance in a world increasingly out of balance. As we reflect on these prophecies, remember, the future is not something distant, it's shaped by the awareness we bring to this very moment. And the most powerful vision isn't what lies ahead, but what lies within. If this video sparked something in you, curiosity, reflection, or simply a new perspective, support our journey by giving it a like, sharing it with others, and subscribing to The Journey of Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next step on this path of awakening. Until next time, may you walk in peace, stay grounded in truth, and keep seeking the wisdom that lives in every moment.